Your $100 bill isn't money. It's a psychological IQ test designed by the market to see if you are a peasant or a king. If you fail this test, no amount of capital in the world will ever save your financial future. Most people look at $100 and they see a pair of shoes. They see a night out. They see a tank of gas. But a trader, a true, cold-blooded architect of wealth, looks at that bill and sees a DNA strand. They see the blueprint for a skyscraper. The tragedy of modern finance is that we have been conditioned to worship the harvest while despising the soil. We want the $1,000,000 account, the ocean view balcony, and the digital freedom, but we treat the starting capital like trash. You've heard the get-rich-quick stories. You've seen the influencers flashing rented keys and fake profits. They've sold you a version of trading that is essentially a high-speed car crash. They tell you that starting small is a handicap. They tell you that you need to flip your account to prove you're a man. They are lying to you. Your $100 is not a limitation. It is your training ground. It is the filter that separates the dopamine-addicted gamblers from the strategic elite. In the next 30 minutes, we are going to deconstruct the human ego. We are going to erase everything you think you know about speed. We are going to build a mental fortress that makes wealth and mathematical inevitability rather than a lucky coincidence. Let's talk about life. When a giant sequoia tree begins its journey, it doesn't start as a massive pillar of wood. It starts as a seed no larger than a grain of salt. That seed contains the mathematical instructions to become a giant. Your $100 is that seed. The problem is, most people are capital cannibals. They eat their seeds. They get a tiny bit of growth. Maybe they turn $100 into $110, and they immediately think about how to spend it. Or worse, they get impatient because the tree isn't 10 feet tall by Friday. They dig up the seed every 3 hours to see if the roots are growing, and in doing so, they kill the organism. To turn $100 into $1 million, you must stop seeing money as a tool for consumption and start seeing it as a biological entity that needs protection. In the early stages, your capital is in the infant phase. It is fragile. A single 20% loss isn't just a $20 setback, it is a structural amputation. The elite trader doesn't trade for the money, they trade to keep the organism alive. They understand that the zeros at the end of a bank balance are just decorations. The core process, the preservation of the seed, is the only thing that matters. If you cannot respect the $100, the market will ensure you never have the $100,000. Why? Because the market is a mirror. It reflects your lack of discipline back at you with violent intensity. We live in an era of neurological warfare. Every app on your phone, every notification, every 10x post on social media is designed to trigger a dopamine spike. This is the enemy of the trader. When you sit down to trade with a small account, your brain is screaming for a big win. It wants that rush of seeing the green bar explode. It wants the hit of feeling like a genius. But here is the secret of the professionals. Professional trading is incredibly boring. If your trading is exciting, you are probably gambling. The path to $1 million is paved with boring 1% gains. It is paved with days where you do absolutely nothing because the market didn't give you your setup. To the average person, this feels like losing. Their brain is addicted to activity. They think work equals action. In the market, work equals restraint. The $100 account is the ultimate test of your dopamine regulation. Can you follow a plan for a $2 profit with the same intensity you would for a $20,000 profit? If the answer is no, you are a gambler. You aren't looking for wealth, you're looking for a high. And the market is the most expensive casino on earth for those who seek a high. Think about a skyscraper. When a developer builds a 100-story tower, where do they spend the first year? They spend it underground. They dig a hole so deep and so dark that people walking by think nothing is happening. They are pouring concrete into the earth. They are building the foundation. Your first year with a small account is your underground year. No one is going to cheer for you. No one is going to be impressed by your $105 balance. Your friends will laugh. Your family will tell you to get a real job. But you aren't building a $100 account. You are building the structural integrity of $1 million mind. If you try to build a massive fortune on a fast foundation, the first time a market crisis hits, your building will collapse. You see this every time there's a crypto crash or a stock market correction. The overnight millionaires vanish. They didn't have the foundation. They didn't spend time in the dirt learning how to manage small risk. You must learn to love the invisible progress. The growth of your discipline is more important than the growth of your balance. If your balance is $100 but your discipline is $1 million, you are already wealthy. The money is just catching up to your reality. Let's look at the snowball effect, but let's strip away the cliches. Most people understand compounding intellectually, but they don't understand it viscerally. Imagine a lily pad in a pond. The lily pad doubles in size every day. On the 30th day, it covers the entire pond. On what day does it cover half the pond? The answer is the 29th day. For 28 days, the pond looks almost empty. You'd look at it and say, "This is a failure. Nothing is happening." Then, in the final 48 hours, the entire reality shifts. This is how wealth is built. The first 90% of your journey will feel like a grind. You will feel like you are walking through mud. You are turning $100 into $110, then $121, then $133. It feels pathetic. But you are building the lily pad of your equity curve. The God math of trading is that the effort required to make $10 is the exact same effort required to make $10,000. The chart is the same. The candles are the same. The strategy is the same. The only thing that changes is the number of contracts or lots you trade. If you can master the 29 days of invisibility, the 30th day will take care of itself. Most people quit on day 25. They quit right before the vertical explosion because they cannot handle the slow part of the math. You must be the person who stays for day 30. In the wild, the most successful predators are not the ones that run the most. They are the ones that wait the most. A crocodile can sit perfectly still for days. It doesn't move for small fish. It doesn't move because it's bored. It moves only when the odds of a massive, life-sustaining kill are 99%. The retail trader is like a frantic squirrel. They are constantly running, constantly clicking, constantly checking the price. They are burning mental energy for no reason. You need to adopt predator silence. Your $100 is your hunting license. If you waste your bullets, your capital, on maybe setups, you will have nothing left when the certain setup arrives. Every time you open your laptop, you should be looking for a reason not to trade. You should be trying to disqualify the market. Is the trend unclear? No trade. Is there high-impact news? No trade. Am I feeling emotional? No trade. When you reach the point where not trading feels as productive as trading, you have graduated. You have moved from the prey to the predator. The predator doesn't feel FOMO, fear of missing out. The predator knows there will always be another gazelle at the watering hole. The only thing that matters is that the predator is alive and ready when it happens. If you want to survive the market, you have to kill yourself. The human ego is a liability in trading. Your ego wants to be right. It wants to predict the future. It wants to tell people at dinner parties that it called the bottom. The market does not care about your opinion. The market is a 100-foot wave, and you are a person on a surfboard. You don't tell the wave where to go. You read the wave and you adapt. Losing a trade is not a personal insult. It is a data point. But to the ego, a loss is a wound. To heal that wound, the ego demands a revenge trade. It says, "How dare the market take $5 from me? I'll show the market. I'll double my position." This is the moment you die. You must hold a funeral for your ego. You must become a ghost in the machine. When you lose, you feel nothing. When you win, you feel nothing. You are simply a technician executing a repeatable process. If you can't take a $2 loss on a $100 account without getting angry, you will never be able to take a $20,000 loss on a $1 million account. And believe me, the $20,000 loss is coming. It's part of the business. If you haven't killed your ego at the $100 level, the $1 million level will destroy your soul. You've seen the videos. How I turned $10 into $1,000 in one day. Let's be very clear, that is not trading. That is a coin flip. If you do that, you haven't learned a skill. You've just developed a dangerous habit. If you flip an account using 100x leverage, you are teaching your brain that reckless gambling is rewarded. You are building a house of cards on a windy day. Even if you succeed and turn $100 into $10,000 in a week, you will lose it all in the next week.
Why?
Because you don't have the character required to keep it. You don't have the risk management muscles. You are like a lottery winner who goes broke in 2 years because they never learned how to be wealthy. They only learned how to be lucky. The $100 account is about proving the system, not hitting the jackpot. If you can grow $100 to $200 over 6 months of disciplined trading, you are a god. You are more impressive than the guy who flipped $100 to $10,000 in a day.
Why?
Because your growth is repeatable. His growth is a fluke. One of you has a career. The other has a story they'll be telling from their parents' basement for the next 20 years. Imagine you are a general. Your $100 represents 100 soldiers. If you send all 100 soldiers into a dark forest without scouting, you are a terrible general. You are going to lose your army. A tactical general sends out scouts. He tests the enemy's strength. He only commits his full force when he has the high ground and the sun is at his back. In trading, your position size is your troop deployment. Most beginners send their whole army into every battle. A professional sends 1 or 2 soldiers. If they get killed, a stop-loss, the general doesn't panic. He still has 98 soldiers. He can fight tomorrow. He can fight next week. The goal of the general is not to win one battle. The goal is to win the war. The war lasts for decades. To win the war of wealth, you must be loss-averse. You must hate losing soldiers more than you love taking territory. If you protect your army, the territory will eventually be yours. If you lose your army, the war is over. Treat every dollar like a soldier. Don't let them die for a maybe. Only send them into battle when the reward is worth the risk. Your brain was not evolved for trading. For 200,000 years, humans evolved to survive in a world of physical threats. If you saw a rustle in the grass, you ran. If you found a berry bush, you ate everything immediately because you didn't know when the next meal was coming. This caveman brain is a disaster for the markets. The caveman wants to run, sell, as soon as he sees a tiny bit of profit because he's afraid it will disappear. The caveman wants to stay and fight, hold a losing trade, because he doesn't want to admit defeat to a predator. To turn $100 into $1 million, you have to perform a manual override on your biology. You have to learn to run when you are wrong and stay when you are right. This feels completely unnatural. It feels wrong to the lizard brain. This is why trading is the ultimate self-development tool. It forces you to become a higher version of yourself. It forces you to use your prefrontal cortex, the logical brain, to suppress the amygdala, the fear brain. Every time you follow your plan despite your fear, you are rewiring your neural pathways. You are literally becoming a different species of human. You are becoming Homo economicus, the man of logic. Wealth is a byproduct of a system, not a byproduct of effort. In the real world, you are taught that if you work harder, you make more money. If you spend more hours at the office, your paycheck grows. In trading, this is a trap. Trying harder often leads to overtrading. It leads to forcing setups that aren't there. You need to shift your focus from making money to executing the system. Imagine you are a worker in a factory. Your job is to pull a lever every time a blue box comes down the conveyor belt. If a red box comes, you do nothing. If you pull the lever for a red box, you get fired. Trading is that factory. Your strategy is the blue box. The market noise is the red box. Your only job, the only thing you should judge yourself on, is whether or not you pulled the lever for the blue box and stayed still for the red one. At the end of the month, don't look at your P&L, profit and loss. Look at your discipline scorecard. Did you follow your rules? If you followed your rules and lost money, you had a successful month. If you broke your rules and made money, you had a catastrophic month.
Why?
Because a lucky win on a bad system is just a trap that will lead to a bigger loss later. But a disciplined loss on a good system is just a business expense. The journey from $100 to $1 million is a lonely one. When you start, people will think you are cute. They'll ask, "How's that little trading thing going?" When you start to get consistent, they will become concerned. They'll say, "Don't get too cocky, the market is dangerous. You should take your profits and buy something real." When you hit the vertical part of the lily pad curve, they will become resentful. They will say you got lucky. They will say the market was easy. You must be prepared to exist in a vacuum. You cannot look to the crowd for validation. The crowd is almost always wrong. The crowd buys at the top because of greed and sells at the bottom because of fear. If you find yourself doing what everyone else is doing, stop. The elite trader is an iconoclast. They are comfortable being alone. They are comfortable being wrong in the eyes of the public, as long as they are right in the eyes of their process. Your $100 account is your secret society. It is a private contract between you and the numbers. No one else needs to understand it. I'll start being serious when I have $10,000. I'll follow my risk management when the stakes are higher. I'll stop checking social media when I'm a pro. These are the lies of the procrastinator. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you are sloppy with $100, you will be a disaster with $10,000. There is no magic level of capital that suddenly makes you disciplined. Discipline is a muscle. If you haven't trained that muscle in the lightweight gym of a $100 account, it will tear the moment you try to lift heavy capital. The perfect moment is right now. The $100 you have today is the most important $100 you will ever own. It is the $100 that will teach you the lessons. The $1 million won't teach you anything. It will just amplify who you already are. If you are a gambler, $1 million will just make you a big stakes gambler until you hit zero. If you are a strategist, $1 million will just give you more soldiers to deploy. Master the small, and the large will follow. This is the law of the universe. Let's talk about the number. Every trader has a number where they start to feel heat. For some, it's $10. For some, it's $1,000. This is the point where the money stops being a data point and starts being real. When the money feels real, you stop making logical decisions. To reach $1 million, you have to constantly push your number higher. You have to desensitize yourself to the fluctuations of the market. How do you do this? By starting small. By trading a $100 account, you are practicing in a low-stakes environment. A $2 loss doesn't change your life. You can still pay rent. You can still eat. This low-stress environment allows you to focus on the logic of the trade. As your account grows, $200, $500, $1,000, the number grows with you. You are like a diver slowly descending into the ocean. If you jump straight to 1,000 feet, the pressure will crush your lungs. But if you go down 10 feet at a time, your body adjusts. Don't rush the descent. Let your emotions adjust to the scale. If you feel your heart racing, you are trading too big. Scale back. The market will be there tomorrow. The only goal is to stay emotionally cold. In many ancient philosophies, suffering comes from attachment. In trading, poverty comes from attachment. Attachment to a specific trade. Attachment to a specific price target. Attachment to a specific bias, e.g., I'm a bull, so the market must go up. The market is a river. It flows where it flows. If you are attached to the idea that the river should flow north, and it starts flowing south, you will drown trying to fight the current. The $100 trader who becomes a millionaire is liquid. They have no ego. If the market says, I'm going down, the trader says, okay, I'm a seller. If the market changes its mind 5 minutes later, the trader says, okay, now I'm a buyer. They are not flip-flopping. They are observing. You are a leaf on the wind. You go where the momentum is. To do this, you have to let go of the need to be right. Being right is for people who want to feel important. Making money is for people who are willing to be wrong 10 times in a row to catch the one big move that matters. In the beginning, you will want to blame the market. The broker hunted my stop. The Fed news ruined my setup. The market is rigged. Stop. The moment you blame an external force, you have given up your power. If the market is the reason you lost, then the market is the only thing that can make you win. You have become a victim. Successful traders take radical responsibility. If you lost money, you took the trade. You set the stop loss. You failed to account for the news. Even if a black swan event happens, you chose to be in the market at that time. When you take 100% responsibility for your $100 account, you are in control. If you are the problem, you can also be the solution. You can study. You can adapt. You can fix your discipline. The market is just a giant machine that produces price data. It doesn't know you exist. It isn't out to get you. It is an indifferent force of nature, like the weather. You don't get mad at the rain. You buy an umbrella. Be the person who buys the umbrella. We focus so much on the compounding of the money that we forget the compounding of the man. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you are compounding your character. Every time you choose study over entertainment, you are compounding your edge. Every time you choose patience over FOMO, you are compounding your wisdom. The $1 million at the end of the journey is not the reward. The person you became to get that million is the reward. The money can be taken away. Markets can crash. Currencies can fail. But the character, the ability to sit in a room, analyze data, manage risk, and execute a plan with ice in your veins, that is yours forever. That is anti-fragile wealth. If you give $1 million to a man with $100 character, he will be poor again very soon. But if you take $1 million away from a man with $1 million character, he will have it all back in a year. Your $100 account is the character lab. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Eventually, the boring 1% days start to add up. Your $100 is now $1,000. Then $5,000. This is where many people fail. They start to think they made it. They start to increase their risk. They start to relax their rules. You must resist this. The rules that worked for $100 are the exact same rules that work for $100,000. Scaling is not about changing the how. It's just about changing the size. Think of a pilot. A pilot flies a small Cessna with the same checklist they use to fly a Boeing 747. Gravity doesn't change just because the plane is bigger. The physics of flight are the same. The physics of finance are the same. Risk, reward, probability, and psychology. If you try to fly your bigger account differently than your small one, you will crash. Stay in the process. Stay in the checklist. Why are you doing this? If you are doing this because you want a Lamborghini next month, you will fail. That motivation is too shallow. It won't sustain you through the invisible years. You need a long-game legacy. You are doing this to break the cycle of financial slavery. You are doing this to own your time. You are doing this because you want to see what you are capable of when you stop being a slave to your impulses. When your why is deep, the how becomes easy. The $100 is just the first step on a mountain that takes years to climb. Enjoy the climb. Enjoy the boring days. Enjoy the small wins. Because one day, you will look back from the summit, and you will realize that the $100 account was the most exciting part of the journey. It was the part where you discovered who you really were. The world is full of talkers. Social media is full of people announcing their goals. The elite trader is silent. They don't post their day one progress. They don't seek likes for their trades. They execute in the dark. There is a psychological phenomenon where announcing your goals to others gives your brain a fake sense of accomplishment. You get a dopamine hit just by saying you're going to be a millionaire, so you lose the drive to actually do the work. Stop talking. Stop announcing. Let your results be your noise. Let your equity curve be your social media post. Work so hard in silence that your bank account is the only thing that knows your name. Your $100 account is a private conversation between you and the truth. Keep it that way. We are coming to the end of this session, but it is just the beginning of your reality. The architect of wealth doesn't see $100. They see a future. They see freedom. They see a version of themselves that is unshakable, disciplined, and free. The market is opening soon. Or maybe it's open right now. What are you going to do? Are you going to be the caveman who chases the red and green candles like a frightened animal? Or are you going to be the architect who follows the blueprint? The $100 is in your hand. The test has begun. You don't need luck. You don't need a hot tip. You don't need a miracle. You just need to get out of your own way. The math is ready. The system is ready. The market is ready. Are you ready? Wealth is not a destination. It is a state of mind that you manifest into reality. Your small account is not a prison. It is the key to your cage. Respect the process. Protect the seed. Kill the ego. If you found value in this deep dive, if your perspective has shifted, then you know what to do. But don't do it for me. Do it for the person you are going to become 3 years from now. Leave a comment below. Don't tell me your goals. Tell me one rule you are going to follow starting today. One rule that you will never break, no matter what. The journey from $100 to $1 million starts with a single, disciplined breath. Take that breath now, and then get to work. I'll see you at the summit.